Master Your Mindset Radio, episode 53.
Welcome to Master Your Mindset Radio, the show where we empower you to conquer limiting beliefs and transform your world with your gifting and purpose. Now for your host, Elizabeth Nader.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode, another week, and another subject that I'm just loving. I gave a little tease this morning. I'm recording this Monday evening, but I gave a little tease this morning in my private Facebook group about the subject of today's podcast, which is the fear of success. Now, it's not obvious that people think about this fear, but the more I ponder it and the more I look into it, the more I'm convinced that this is an absolutely universal fear at one point or another, probably for everyone. Now, we're all used to talking about the fear of failure. And it's important to talk about failure. Very important. You guys know, those of you that read my book, I wrote a whole chapter on failure. It's the first chapter I wrote. It's the last chapter in the book. And it's called The Blessing of Failure. And I certainly have had enough of it in my life that gave me the ability to write a whole chapter about what it means to fail and why it's important and how it can be a blessing. So understanding the fear of failure and hearing things like let failure be your fuel, you know, the commonly said statements and phrases and motivational quotes around failure, I think everybody knows all those. Now, it bears repeating often because failure is a common experience and we all need to deal with it correctly. So not taking away from that, but what do we forget to talk about? And what do I think actually could perhaps give some of you literally breakthrough in your life in understanding yourself? And that is talking about the fear of success. Is that a real thing? Absolutely. Never thought about it until a couple of years ago, and then I've sort of put it aside, but lately I keep coming back to it. So today I want to dive into it, and I'm just doing this I'm just going to do it from the top of my head. I didn't really, prepare a whole long thing. I just want to talk to you about it like we're sitting and having coffee as friends and discussing what the fear of success is. Let's just explore it and unpack it and see where it goes. I want to give you an analogy to help you understand that. Any of you who are downhill skiers who have tried to downhill ski, who know what that feels like. If you've been on a mountain and you're learning this, or you're on, let's say you're not used to doing blacks and you're on a double black, that mountain is steep. As you go down, you're picking up speed. You pick up speed, you pick up speed. Until you are really a professional or really comfortable or really confident in your abilities, a lot of times you will purposely make yourself fall to slow yourself down because it's scary, because things are happening quickly. Now, would you have made it down that mountainside without falling? There's a good chance you may have, especially if you were prepared and it was time for you to conquer that particular hill. Yes, you may have fallen, but you'll never know because you took an easy way out. You basically threw yourself down on the mountainside to stop yourself because things were happening quickly and you were afraid you wouldn't be able to handle it. I want you to use that analogy as we talk about the fear of success. We all presumably want success in our life. We all presumably work hard to achieve that level of success. However, do you realize that maybe at times you actually self-sabotage? Maybe at times when you feel stuck or when you get a great opportunity and you just don't seem to turn it into something that you want, or you start to procrastinate, or you start to back away from something that could be a big blessing in your life. Do you wonder why that is? Is it possible that you're afraid to succeed? Now, common sense would say, why would you be afraid to succeed? There are a lot of reasons. And the more that I thought about this, the more that I realized that it's probably pretty common out there. And I definitely think it's something we need to overcome. So let's first look at signs, or sort of the idea that you could find in your life, something that points to the fact that you may have a fear of success. I think fear of failure is a little more obvious to find, right? You're literally afraid that you might fail. You probably say that to yourself. But most people don't say, I'm afraid if I succeed. That's an implied part of the sentence. Instead, they do things like say to themselves, what if I change? What if the people around me don't like me anymore? What if it's too difficult? And this is all like the what ifs around success. What if that added responsibility that comes with that success is too much for me? What if I can't handle the money? What if I have to pay more taxes? These are all thoughts that could come into your mind thinking about potential success. What if my family can no longer relate to me? What if I don't have time for my family? What if my life gets too complicated? Other people might treat me differently. It's too much for me to take on. I might be leaving other people in my life behind. And one of the things too that's interesting, especially for people who, as a result of success, may become more of a public figure within whatever sphere where they serve, people nowadays are afraid of people having an opinion about them. I mean, the more visibility you have, the more trolls come after you, the more people comment on what you do, and the less you can hide. And let's be honest, sometimes people just want to hide. Not everyone wants to be in the public eye, I get that. But the more success usually in life means the more exposure to more people, which on the good side means you get to serve more people, because that's what it's all about. But the flip side of that is you are exposed more to criticism, to negative comments, to people who may want to weigh in on what you're doing. Here's the thing. Success brings change. It does. Each level of success brings a different amount of change, but success equals change. Change in what? Change in your influence. Change in your daily responsibilities. Change in your financial situation. Change in the people that you have relationships with for whatever reason. Change in your schedule. Change in, what your pressures are. Change in any number of things that allow you to step up to that next level. Success means change. Interestingly enough, failure means status quo. With failure, really, it's either status quo or going backwards, right? If you try something and it failed, then you just stand where you were before you tried it. But that's not the same thing with success. Success brings in change, and sometimes we feel like we can't control that change. So while we think about, dream about, ponder, set goals for this success that we want to have, and we visualize it in our life, a lot of times the chatter underneath that in our brain says, yes, but what if it brings change that I don't want? If I do a really good job and I'm successful at X, Y, or Z, what if I have to keep doing that? What if I have to perform that well again? The imposter syndrome kicks in. What if people find out that I don't really know what I'm doing? Maybe people will think I'm a fraud. What if I don't have time to keep that level of success going? What if now I'm committed to this extra responsibility and I don't really want it? What if the change means I have less time for my family? All the things that people worry about actually stop them from embracing that success. And it turns into really excuses. It really does, because as I'm saying all those what ifs, it's a lot of fear and anxiety of the unknown. Now, for someone who's really struggling financially or really desperate to make it big, they would say, well, that's ridiculous. I would love to have, this unlimited income or extra income or get that promotion or do really well, whatever. But all these other things get ushered into your life. And at some level, that things may change. And so you have anxiety around that. So we make excuses to ourselves about Well, I can't do that. That goal is too big, or it's not time for me right now. Now, that may be a valid excuse. There are seasons in life, and you need to know when it's time to reach for something bigger and when it's not. So I think that that is a valid exercise. But if you're making the excuse not to do the work, if you're procrastinating, if you're in some ways putting off that which you could do because you're afraid of the success, then that is self-deception. Then that is you hurting yourself. And then when you get frustrated and you say, why am I not seeing this breakthrough? Why am I not experiencing the success I want in my life? You have to kind of dig into it and say, am I actually afraid of it? Am I actually keeping it away? I talk about it. I talk big about it. I set goals. I visualize. I do vision boards. I do 10-year plans. I do 1-year plans. I do all of this. But yet, at the end of the day, I actually don't even want it. So people will do things like refuse to set goals, or set them and never put them into motion, or just conveniently forget deadlines. Start to self-sabotage. Do you ever self-sabotage? Do you feel a lack of motivation or laziness to complete things you know you should do? Are you second-guessing yourself all the time? A lot of people procrastinate. That's a big one, definitely, and especially procrastinate the important things that need to get done. Trying to avoid that responsibility, or using perfectionism to not complete something. And there are people, and I've seen them in my career, where they'll turn down great opportunities without a good reason, but they have the fear of that success. So you see them limited to jobs, to projects, even to relationships that they have clearly outgrown. But as they are on the brink of success, as they are on the brink of something bigger in their life that deserves to be in their life, they will sabotage themselves, either with some of those things I mentioned, or even by making really bad life decisions that end up blowing things up for themselves. So if this becomes a habit in your life, and it becomes a cyclical thing where you're just continually pushing away success, your frustration is going to grow. You're going to feel like you're standing still. You're going to wonder why you're not breaking through to that next level. Yet you're not necessarily connecting the dots. You're not seeing that something is holding you back. Now, why would you choose those reactions? They sound pretty negative. It has something to do normally with our past, with the way we define success, the way we've seen success in others. The fact that there may be a definition of success that equates to things that terrify us. And it really depends on our limiting beliefs and the things that we have seen over the years, especially when we are younger. Anything in our past, it has a way of creeping in and taking hold, and therefore controlling our future. So you have to start to consider, why do I believe these things about success? Once you start to identify them, why do I have these limiting beliefs? Where is it coming from? I think you can start with defining success, being specific. What does success mean for you? Because let me give you an example. If you were to define success as somebody who works 24/7 and is never home or spends no time with their children, and to you that's the success that you were raised to see, that you knew that maybe your dad was that way or your mom, that they were successful, but that meant they were gone all the time, that they spent no time with you. Without even speaking those words, you intuitively would say to yourself, success equals being absent. Success equals broken relationships. So as much as in your mind, you're pushing towards success, your subconscious, your limiting beliefs, which is in control, is saying, no, don't succeed, you'll pay a price. So defining what success means to you is one of the first steps to help you uncover what limiting belief you may have attached to it. It also helps you understand how you've reached success when you get there, right? When you define it. So define success. And if you see negatives in the definition, find the limiting beliefs and start to do the work. That's another podcast. That's my book, other things, but start to do the work to heal those limiting beliefs. So start with defining success. And then that will allow you to question what about success scares you. Some people are afraid, literally, if they make more money, that they can't manage it and that they'll owe more taxes. And then therefore, they will fall apart financially and everything will be taken away from them. So while they want to make more money and they want to be more successful, they actually see a negative result coming from all of that. So if that's something that's inside of you, you need to figure out why. You need to heal that limiting belief. And look, if you need to go and get some financial management help, then that's what you do. That's what you do. You set yourself up for success in the area that you believe you're limited. So if you think, I'm not going to be able to handle that money, then you get someone to help you. You set yourself up for success. If you think that all your time will be taken, you have to realize that you can say no to things. You have to realize that, yes, success can bring on more responsibility, but it also usually means you don't have to do some other things you were doing before, that you can get help, that you can delegate, that you have control and you can decide what to say yes to and what to say no to. So you go into that, headed into that saying, I'm in charge of my life. I'm in charge of my schedule. I decide. And that gives you the confidence to know what you're walking into. So each of these limiting beliefs that may be attached to your definition of success, you can literally create a way for you to deal with that, to say, hey, it's not that bad. Worst case scenario, I get very busy. I start delegating things. I hire someone to clean my house, right? I prioritize. So my kids, my family, my husband come first. And then after that, right, is my work. And so therefore, I'm taking the last week of every month off. I mean, I don't know. You come up with a thing that says I'm in control, because there is this idea in American society that great success ends up consuming you. And that great success means that you are totally and completely beholden to that success, to repeating it, to working harder and harder. And I think that's a lie. I know that's a lie. In fact, financial freedom, success, and all the things that come with it should free you. You should know how to build a team. You should know how to handle that bigger job. You should be able to put around you the systems in place so your priorities stay intact. But if you don't know what your priorities are going into that success, then you will fall. So these are things that you can put in motion for yourself to help you understand that you can actually survive success. How about that? Surviving success. So looking at it too, to say, how has the fear of success limited me in the past? How is it limiting me now? Because I guarantee you that you have been limited by it at some point or another. And some people, again, it's the imposter syndrome, that they're afraid that people are going to think they're a fraud or find out that they're a fraud if they get so successful that all eyes are on them now. And that, of course, is another limiting belief. So we need to look at the price we paid or the price we will pay and determine that we're going to defeat that fear, that we will not be a victim of that fear, that we will not be afraid of success. We will be successful and enjoy it, but we will be proactive to build our life in a way that allows the success to be a blessing, not a curse. And it's up to you. You have to put those structures in place. You have to maintain those priorities. You have to be able to build a life around all of that so that your success not only blesses you, but blesses others. So I am not one for signing up for the fear of success. However, if you do not have that foundation to build that house on, if you do not have your priorities in place, if you have limiting beliefs surrounding it, if you have fears, then this is not your time. You need to do that work. You need to do that work before so the foundation is there. And then you need to begin to dig into any remaining fears you have of success. And you need to tell yourself the truth. You need to heal those limiting beliefs and replace them with affirming beliefs And not only that, but decisions and structure and commitments and love and priorities that allow you to have success in your life without destroying you. This absolutely will allow for you to be free to build what you were meant to build, whatever that looks like, your career, your business, your family, your ministry, whatever you're called to do. I am sure each of you wants to do it to the nth degree, right? We want to experience the full destiny and purpose, but people don't because of their fear of success. The fear of failure, that one, a lot of people get past, or at least they know how to deal with it. The fear of success, it hides. It hides behind other things. It hides behind false humility. Oh, I don't really need that much money. I don't need to be that big of a deal. I don't need that. It's a fear of success because you don't know what you're going to do with it when you get it. And yes, every time we break through a new level in our career, in our business, in our relationships, whatever, we have to deal with an emotional trigger that's trying to hold us back. But isn't it worth it? Don't you want to uncover all these things? I know I do. And as a parent, I also, to any parents listening, I think you need to look at your children and help them understand this concept. I can't even imagine how different people's lives would be is if, as teenagers or young adults, they were taught about the fear of success and what that looks like and how it might show up in their life. I was just having a conversation the other day with someone about a strong father figure, an outgoing father figure, who may have a child who is an introvert, who doesn't face the world that way, who does things differently. And how, of course, we're all made a specific way, but that child may look at his father and say, he's successful. So therefore, in my child mind, I think success equals extroversion, right? Success equals this brash confidence, and success equals somebody who doesn't mind everybody looking at them. And that child who is a born introvert, that child who has a different personality, God-given, says to himself, I'm afraid to be successful because that's what success is, and I can't do that because I'm different. So imagine if we're able to give our children these tools to say, that's not going to help you. Success is your definition, not the definition that you saw by osmosis, right? Not the definition that you made up in your mind. That in fact, success is different for you because you were made differently. Because that child who looks at that father who is so outgoing and who is so extroverted, and that child doesn't feel a connection to that personality type, loves his father, he's a good kid, the father's a good guy, but that child won't understand that success means something different for him. And he may self-sabotage just to stay away from experiencing success in the way he thinks it is. Really interesting stuff. I hope this helps you guys. There's so much here that I could dig into. So many different tools and techniques I think that we could find to help each other deal with the fear of success. But I wanted to at least start you on a journey to think about it, to see if you can find it in yourself, and to understand that in some way it's all connected to a limiting belief. And in fact, I believe this fear of success holds people back their entire life, and they never realize it and they never identify it. And we need to be free from it. So guys, please send me an email, go on social media, DM me, whatever, tell me what you think. I think we need to dive into this subject more, maybe in a seminar, maybe in one of the upcoming intensives that we do. I love it. There's so much here from a mindset standpoint. So I hope this has helped you. And by the way, you should be paying attention because enrollment for the upcoming Mindset Reset virtual seminar will be opening in the next week. It's going to be the first part of October. I'm just working out the details now. I'm going to have some great speakers. It's a one-day event, all virtual, and it will be about overcoming. It will be about dealing with the things that are holding you back so you can overcome. And this is the season to dare to overcome. So look for that information soon. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you online.
Thank you for listening to Master Your Mindset Radio. Before you go, if you want to be part of a free online community of like-minded individuals for support, resources, and inspiration as you conquer your limiting beliefs and pursue your purpose, go to elizabethnader.com/community. That's elizabethnader.com/community, or search for Master Your Mindset Academy private group on Facebook. Looking forward to seeing you online.